The Gatemen try to secure pole position before their playoff run begins in earnest on Saturday as they start a home-and-home against the Bourne Braves here at Spillane today and then tomorrow against Doran Park. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Gatemen Pregame Show. My name's Henrique DaMour. To my right, JD Raucci. To my left is Cam Stuart. 4-4 tie yesterday against the Cotuit Cavaliers in a game that felt like a win, given that the Gatemen were down 3-0 going into the ninth, and Gian Martellini against his former team played hero yesterday.
Yeah, he was absolutely fantastic. Came off the bench in a high-pressure, high-leverage situation as a pinch hitter. They needed to score, and he got them there. A two-run single tied the game at 3 before Isaac Collins put them ahead with an RBI single. Things faltered in the bottom of the ninth against Joey Barron. He ended up giving up the tying run, but still, you sneak out with a point, and you wouldn't have snuck out with that point without Gian Martellini. This is what the Gatemen need moving forward as they head into the playoffs, is guys to come off the bench and guys to step up when they need them most. That's what we saw from Gian Martellini yesterday. Like you said, he stepped up against Cotuit in the past. A home run versus his former team last time, or 2 times ago when the Gatemen were at Lowell Park in an 8-1 win. He stepped up in a lot of spots, and now he's garnered himself a starting position today. He is going to be in the 5-hole, the highest we have seen him this season as the catcher tonight. Gian Martellini should get a bigger spot moving forward, and it's impressive for a guy that started the season on the Gatemen roster, then was cut in the middle part of the season, but then was picked back up for the playoff push. He has been absolutely fantastic and absolutely instrumental in a lot of the Gatemen's wins over the past couple of weeks. You think back to that Falmouth game in the first of the 3-game series with the Commodores at the end of last week. Came up with a double down the right field line that put the Gatemen out in front for good in that game at Arnie Allen Diamond at Gov Fuller Field. He has really been a great piece for this Gatemen offense and should be moving forward.
He's a guy that you can put in off the bench. I mean, it's tough to have guys who can just come in a pinch and deliver and deliver and deliver, but Gian Martellini has been able to do that. Of course, he's been in and out of the starting lineup today. Like you said, he's getting the start in the 5-hole and behind the dish, and he did so yesterday. He played hero against Jason Reynolds, who, as a reliever for Cotuit, was left in, we think, maybe a little bit too long, but also just that it might be just a piece of bullpen management and, kind of picking your battles to win the broader war as all these teams are playing into their playoff push. And we saw bullpen management. I mean, it's going to play a big role going forward for all 8 teams in the CCBL playoffs, especially in these last couple of games. But yesterday, it played a big role in the outcome of the game.
Yeah, we think Reynolds was left in there too long. I think the only one who thinks that more than us is Mike Roberts, the coach for Cotuit. He leaves him in for the 9th inning. He's riding the hot hand. The Gatemen didn't get anything going offensively up until that 9th inning. He comes in, and it absolutely falls apart for him and the Cavaliers. They drop a 4-spot, couple extra base hits off him. Austin Shenton gets it started with that double just inside the left field line. And even guys just plugging in and coming in. Gian Martellini with a base hit. Luke Roscom with a big hit. Isaac Collins, it flips back up to the top of the order. He gets the hit that gives them the lead. So some hard hit balls off him. It's not like he was losing his control like we've seen with some of the other relievers in the Gatemen comebacks this year. He just got hit hard, and he definitely was left in too long. From the other side, from the Gatemen side, I also think Joey Barron was probably left in too long, and that's a script we have seen before from the Gatemen this year. I think back to a couple times here at Spillane. Jared Horn comes into the 9th inning when he had already pitched a few innings, walks the first 2 guys against Brewster. They blow a lead in that one. It's a blown save for the Gatemen. A couple weeks later, Cody Carroll, on his 2nd or 3rd inning of work, walks the first 2 guys in the 9th inning. They have to take him out, and it's blown in the 9th. That was that big Falmouth comeback where they scored 4 or 5 runs in the 9th inning off the Gatemen. And Joey Barron, same thing. Like Horn and like Carroll before him in those 2 outings, looked really good going into that 9th inning, but he had just run out of gas. Gets the first 2 guys out, thinks he has the 3rd out after he goes 2 strikes on 1 guy, gets a single. Next guy is the high hopper to Oliver Dunn that we thought he was out at first base, close play, and he's ruled safe, and the tying run comes in to score, and you end up with a tie. So I understand where you're trying to save some arms. You know that the playoffs are looming here, but there's only so many times you can save arms. You're still battling for home field. I mean, things are really tight here in the Western Division for home field advantage and that #1 seed and who you want to face in the playoffs. I mean, we talk about it. Falmouth is a team that I know I personally don't want to see the Gatemen face. They've really struggled against them this year, and it looks like it's either them or Cotuit. And Cotuit they've had some real success off of this year. So there are some big games coming up here even before the postseason. It looks locked up. They've got the playoff spot, obviously, but crucial these last 2 against Bourne, and it started last night. Again, it did feel like a win, like you said, but a point's a point. Could have been 2.
A lot of very important games going into these last couple of games. A home and home, everybody is playing that. Hyannis against YD, a very tough team there. So Hyannis could see, them dropping off. Falmouth against Cotuit, and Cotuit, one of the hotter teams in the league, but Falmouth has dominated Cotuit this year. So really interesting set of games coming up to determine West Division seeding going forward. Let's talk a little bit more about that and about the season outlook going forward and the postseason push. I myself got to sit down with our resident wordsmith, our man behind the keyboard, Ian Vescera, to discuss what the heck the Gatemen got to do to make a playoff push and maybe make a title run this year. Hi, everybody. Welcome into Get on the Beat. My name's Henrique DaMour. Our beat writer joining us today, Ian Vescera. Ian, how you doing?
Great as always. How you doing, Henrique?
I'm doing fantastic. Gatemen have not lost in 4 days, coming off a 4-4 tie yesterday. And the Gatemen going forward, I mean, it's going to be an interesting couple of days here as the Gatemen play the only team in the CCBL to be eliminated so far from the playoffs in the Bourne Braves. But they're still trying to play spoiler. They put up a fight against Hyannis yesterday. And going forward, there's going to be a lot to be determined seeding-wise and home field advantage-wise all around the league going forward.
Yeah, these next 2 days are huge for the Gatemen. I mean, just in terms of the fact that you want to be the home field, you want to be the team with home field advantage. You want to be that 1 seed, just gives you the confidence going in and saying, hey, we're the best team in our division. Gives you that confidence, going forward. Even that the division is so tight, so contested right now, you could fall as low as, 3 or even, 4. But the Gatemen have the potential to be that 1 seed. They think they can be that 1 seed. They're up a point with 2 games to go. Take care of business against a team that's eliminated, and you get that done.
And the Gatemen, like you said, they could fall pretty far, but having confidence that you're going to play 2 games at home where you have been so good throughout the entire year, 14 wins already at home. The Gatemen have dominated at Spillane, and obviously there have been, as guys tend to go home due to innings limits, injuries, whatnot, the Gatemen have picked up a lot of other guys from either other summer leagues or just out of their hometowns. And it's interesting because there's a balance to be struck of, okay, these guys are taking up roster spots, but how much do they actually contribute?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny because if you look at the roster, to begin the year to now, it's almost like a night and day difference. Sure, there's a good core group that's still there together, but a lot of the outliers, those fringe guys have changed, whether it's, the USA guys leaving early or some of the pitchers, like you mentioned, leaving due to innings limits. But so as for those new guys coming in, literally with the last couple of days left of the season, they're just fillers at this point. I talked to manager Don Stenton yesterday after the game, kind of just addressing it because a big guy like Will Proctor's gone now. Sahid Valenzuela's gone, just among, other guys who the Gatemen have also lost, during the season. And he's saying at this point, basically, those guys are here to be pinch runners, defensive replacements. The pitchers that we're getting for the next 2 days are going to be the guys throwing the next 2 days when it's going to be, sort of a bullpen day. You're not going to burn a guy who's actually going to start in a playoff game for you later, this weekend, next week. So that's his plan going forward with these new guys.
And so like you said, I mean, bullpen day definitely today and maybe even tomorrow. Nathan Florence is starting today. It's his second start of the year, and he was good against YD. Might get anything from Derek West is what I heard. What do you think the Gatemen, their plan of attack is? Because, there is a balance to be struck, right? You want to take these 2 games, but at the same time, it's a little bit of a dice roll, throwing everybody and some guys who have never seen Cape League batting before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure, Henrique. And so, again, something that Stenton said yesterday after the game was it's going to be bullpen days the next 2 days. Now, what does he mean by that? Remains to be seen because, like you said, if we see, Florence having a good outing and he's not, projected to be a guy who maybe is starting a playoff game, why not roll him out there 3, 4, 5 innings, try and get you that home field advantage? But also, like you said, guys like Derek West, get him an inning, just like we saw yesterday with Ryan Garcia, get him an inning, stay fresh, so that when the postseason rolls around, they're ready to go and make their starts.
So very interesting 2 days in store. Ian, thank you so much for everything you contribute, obviously, up there, banging out the recaps, highlights, previews, all that fun stuff. We really appreciate you and your insight on Get on the Beat. We're going to go back to the Gatemen pregame show after this.
Gatemen Baseball is officially sponsored by Robertson's GMC, the truck professionals. Located on Cranberry Highway in Wareham, Robertson's GMC. We are professional grade. Generations for life.
Thank you to Ian for his presence, smile, and insight, as always, on the Gatemen pregame show on every segment he does. Today, though, the Bourne Braves come to town for the first of a home-and-home, and a guy that we've seen in mostly a bullpen role, but coming off a hot start recently against YD, Nathan Florence taking the hill today for Wareham.
He was absolutely fantastic against YD at Hartford. Only gave up 1 hit over 4 or so innings for him, and it was just the home run to Nick Quintana. That's the only negative moving forward with Nathan Florence, is that it seems like he gives up about a home run an outing. So he's got to be able to keep his pitches down. That is going to be key for him today with the likes of Jared Triolo and Spencer Brickhouse staring him in the face for the Bourne Braves today. They are a good power-hitting team. They will hit the ball hard. Yeah, they're in a bit of a tailspin, but still, you got to be wary of their power. You got to be wary of their ability to hit the ball out of the yard. Ashton Bardzella is also red hot. We saw him hit 3 out today in BP, one all the way deep up on the outfield bleachers in left center field, where the football bleachers sit here at Spillane. So moving forward for Nathan Florence, the big thing that he has got to be wary of and cognizant of today is keeping that ball down in the zone. Whether that be fastball, whether that be breaking ball, whether that be changeup, the ball has got to stay down for him to have success today. And if he pitches the way he did against YD at Hartford, then he should be in a pretty good spot. He should put the Gatemen in a pretty good spot to try to lock up the 1 seed. Hyannis is leading their game 2-0 as of right now, but things could change. And if Hyannis loses today and the Gatemen win, they will lock up the number 1 seed in the West Division.
And going forward, the Bourne Braves obviously can only play spoiler, but they send a guy to the bump who has been his last name's been in the news. Not Chris Archer, though, but a guy in Mr. Archer who is making his first start for these Bourne Braves that are, like I said, just trying to play spoiler today. Cam, what do we know about him?
Well, we don't know too much because he hasn't started in college and he hasn't started this year on the Cape. He's only pitched 11 innings for the Braves this year on the summer, so if anything, he's well rested, but he's got a high ERA. It's up over 6. Last time out was probably his worst outing of the year. Gave up 3 runs in 3 innings and got the loss for the Braves. So he was knocked around a little bit by those Katuitt Kettleers that we saw last night, and we know they can poke the ball around, especially this last week or two. And the Gatemen are a pretty hot offense coming in. It was pretty stagnant most of the night last night, but it comes together with 4 runs in the 9th inning and keeps them in the game. And obviously the 2 double-digit run outputs over the weekend have provided for a really hot offense for the Gatemen. So if they can get on him early, he's a guy who won't stay in the game probably too long. He hasn't done it all year. Those 3 innings were the longest he had gone all season for them. So well rested, but he's been knocked around quite a bit so far for the Braves and a team that's really just trying to get out of here for the summer.
So going forward, the Gatemen will send Nathan Florence to the bump, and he'll probably be a bigger part of this pen and maybe even a long reliever going forward, I imagine. But as of today, he is the starter against the Braves, and our Mary Orders got to catch up with him pregame.
Thanks, guys. So, Nate, you got your first start at Dunkin' Donuts Park a little over a week ago. How do you think that start went?
I think it was definitely my best appearance so far this summer. I felt comfortable again. I kind of felt like that's what I should be doing all the time.
What are you trying to improve upon from that start to tonight?
Probably just get ahead on batters. You know, I want to start every at bat with a first pitch strike, whether it's fastball or breaking ball, but definitely getting ahead, getting the first out.
Have you been working on anything in particular with Coach Lawler?
Yeah, just more mechanical, kind of fine-tuning some stuff to be more effective.
What are some of the exact mechanics you're working on?
Just kind of landing with my left foot closed because I tend to open up a little bit, getting the glove hand out towards the batter to, be more consistent.
Do you think you're more excited to start here or at Dunkin' Donuts Park?
I'd have to say Dunkin' Donuts Park, but I haven't started here yet, so I'm excited for this too.
Do you think it'll be fun to be in front of a Wareham home crowd?
Yeah, definitely, and I have some family coming up too, so that should be good.
Who's coming up?
My parents, and I think my cousins are coming too from Rhode Island.
That's fun.
Yeah.
A little bit of hometown.
Yeah, definitely.
And your guys' bullpen is changing, like the roster's turning over a lot. How does that affect your role on the team?
I don't really think it does. You show up to the park every day with the same mindset, regardless of who comes in and who goes. But, we're still trying to stay focused.
Looking into playoffs, what are some of the goals of the team?
Definitely just win the first game because we're playing 3-game series. So to win the first game is big, and then you got 2 more games to finish it off. Nate,
thanks so much. We'll have more after the break.
Mezzaluna is a family-run Italian restaurant celebrating 80 years in business. Located on Main Street in Buzzards Bay, Mezzaluna specializes in Italian cuisine, a lunch menu that's the best deal in town, and serves Cape Cod's famous prime rib every Wednesday and Saturday. Come enjoy the feast at Mezzaluna, the Italian family restaurant.
Thank you to Mary, as always. Thank you to Nathan Florence for stopping by and giving some insight on what he's got to do today to beat the Braves. But let's get these two's opinion. What do the Gatemen have to do to beat the Bourne Braves, who, like I said, they basically checked out on the year, but they're trying to play spoiler?
I think tonight Jeremy Idens is the key for the Gatemen. He's 2 for his last 24 over the last week or so. He is really in a tailspin right now, and he's got to break out. Still leads the league in RBIs with 29 on the season. He is still able to drive guys in even with that slump. He has come up big in a couple of situations, but I think he's going to be really key to get him going tonight, not only to beat the Braves tonight and pick up a super important win moving forward for playoff seeding, but also just to get a little bit good juju back for him as he heads into the playoffs. I think he needs to start, I don't know, there's just something, it seems to be this lock on him. He's chasing pitches out of the zone. He's chasing pitches we didn't see him chase early in the season, and I think it's just a confidence thing at this point. He's been put down on strikes a lot lately, and the strike to walkout ratio isn't what it was at the beginning of the year. A lot of strikeouts over the last couple of days for Jeremy Idens. So moving forward, I think he's got to try to take consistent at-bats and just shorten up his approach at the plate. I know he's the 4-hole guy. I know he's got the most power, quote-unquote, on this team in terms of where he's positioned in the lineup, but to shorten up your approach, simplify things. Just try to get on base. That's all you need to do if you're Jeremy Idens. This Gatemen team all season long isn't a team that is going to hit a ton of home runs, albeit the last week they have hit a lot. But this Gatemen team is not known for the power. It is not known for knocking guys around the base paths quickly. Station-to-station baseball, lots of hits, lots of base runners. Get on any way you can. And if Jeremy Idens could do that and be a semi-catalyst in the middle of this lineup, I think the Gatemen will have a lot of success against a guy that really hasn't had that much success in Andy Archer this season.
So Jeremy Iden's looking for a bounce-back performance and to add his league-leading RBI total. Cam, what do you think?
Well, I'm looking a little further down in the lineup, and I'm looking at the 5 and 6 holes because the Gatemen have a couple of sleeping giants in there tonight. And we talk about Lyle Lockhart's been coming around a lot more. He's in the 7 hole tonight, starting to get on base a lot more, putting together some good at-bats. But I'm looking at, in the 5 slot, Gian Martellini, and in the 6 spot, Pavin Parks. Two guys who are starting to get a couple more at-bats. Obviously, Parks has been hurt. Martellini's starting to earn some more time, obviously, with the big hit last night. He's been red hot lately. To keep him in the lineup and give him some more at-bats, I think is going to be crucial for the Gatemen tonight. And I want to see Pavin Parks get going right here before the playoffs. Last time he played here, had a couple of hits, started to look a lot better with that swing. But he's been kind of a disappointment this season as far as that run production and that average is concerned. So he and Martellini can provide some nice protection for guys like Shenton and Jeremy Idens who come up before them, and some shaking up at the beginning. At the top of the order, Jacob Goldfarb in the number 2 spot, where we haven't seen him at all this year. So to provide some good protection down there is going to be crucial for the Gatemen tonight, and those are 2 power bats, and if they come around, that could be like adding a midseason acquisition, if you will. You know, Don Sneddon talks about all these guys you add right before the playoffs can make or break your team. Well, the way we've seen Gian Martellini used this season, he basically is an addition. We haven't seen it most of this year, and the way he's been swinging the bat is huge for the Gatemen going into that playoff run. And I'd like to see Pavin Parks come around a little bit as well. If you can add 2 power bats, who's telling how far you can go in the postseason?
So the Gatemen heart of the order, 4, 5, 6 will need to come up big according to these two if the Gatemen want a chance to sweep the Bourne Braves, send them home early, go and have a big amount of momentum as far as power is concerned going into the playoffs no matter who they play. We'll see you on the other side. Gatemen and Bourne Braves doing battle at 6:30 from Spillane Field. For Henrique DaMour, JD Raucci, and Cam Stewart, see you soon.